Hello, my name is Margie Connolly. I am a Rotarian. I have been in the Rotary Club for 12 years now, and I'm a past president and board member of the Sugarland Rotary Club of Texas. And also, I am currently an assistant governor for District 5890. And I was unable to be in person in Dallas for PETS due to the weather and flight cancellations. So I am recording my presentation for you, and hopefully this will give you some insight on addressing issues of building diversity, equity, and inclusion within your clubs. This is something that I've been very passionate about, and Rotary International is also very passionate about, and I'd like to share some of my ideas with you. Typically, this particular presentation calls for discussion, dialogue among the participants. We're not going to be able to do that, but I would be happy to give you my email address, which is right there on this first screen, and you can email me with any questions that you may have after you have watched the presentation. So let's go ahead and begin. This is not going to take the full 45 minutes because of the lack of ability for us to dialogue, but let's dig in. All right, Rotary International's statement on diversity, equity, and inclusion is this. As a global network that strives to build a world where people can unite and take action to create lasting change, Rotary values diversity and celebrates the contributions of people of all backgrounds, regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, color, abilities, religion, socioeconomic status, culture, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. So, to be fair to all concerned, Rotary encourages us to be inclusive of all types of people who have all different types of life situations. So let's define diversity. DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Diversity means Rotary welcomes people of all backgrounds, cultures, experiences, and identities. So let's dig deeper into diversity. We're talking about race, gender, religion, age, socioeconomic status, profession, physical abilities, intellectual abilities, and family commitments. Caregivers. When Rotary did its survey of diverse clubs and people's opinions about how diverse their clubs were, one of the elements that was missing from many clubs was caregivers, and the opportunity for caregivers, people who stay home with children or people who stay home with elderly parents, to have opportunities to participate in Rotary clubs. That is a subject for discussion among your club as well. We've done a great job with gender. Now women make up almost half of all Rotary members in the United States. Religion. Does your club meeting begin with an invocation or a prayer? And if so, do you encourage people of different faiths to lead that invocation or prayer during your meetings, just to make them feel included, to give education to our members about other cultures, other religions, and other ways of invoking the Lord or our God or Mother Nature into our meetings to help us build on our higher purpose as Rotarians. Age. Does your club have a monetary dues structure that's prohibitive to young beginning professionals? Have you thought about encouraging young professionals and young caregivers to join your club, to devote their talents and their diverse energies to your club with a dues structure that is inclusive? Food for thought. Same with socioeconomic status. Do you have a dues structure that encourages people of different financial abilities to participate in club activities and to help grow your club in its mission to give care to the entire world and to create an environment of change and of progress and of health for the entire world? Physical abilities. Where does your club meet? Do people with physical disabilities or alternate physical abilities, do they run into obstacles in being able to attend and participate in your meetings? Or does your club meet in a physical environment that encourages people of all physical abilities to be able to participate and attend? Intellectual abilities. Same. There are some meeting structures that may discourage people with intellectual differences from attending. So think about, does your club create obstacles, or does your club create openings, open doors for people of all different abilities and race and socioeconomic status, all of these different items. All right. Rotary strives for the fair treatment, opportunity, and advancement of all Rotary participants. And by Rotary participants, we mean not just the members of your club, not just the board members of your club, not just the dues-paying members of your club, but your partners in the community, organizations that you may help with fundraising or help with hands-on activities. It also includes the recipients of your hands-on activities. So we are trying for the fair treatment of all who are involved. So equity, is it fair to all concerned? Let's dig a little deeper into that. Rotary is working to create experiences where all people feel welcomed, respected, and valued, regardless of their status in the club, their status as a member versus a beneficiary of the club, or as a community partner of the club. Let's strive for clubs that make everyone feel included. Some ideas might be your social events. Can you adjust or create some social events that your club will put on that will perhaps include restaurants owned by minority owners or women owners or physically and intellectually challenged individuals who might be able to run a business, and your club might be able to support local businesses run by diverse people by having a social event there. So think about how you can partner with your community and all the diverse members of the community in which you live to make everyone feel included for the purpose of advancing the mission of Rotary. Okay. And there's a Bible verse that I like to use when I talk about this. Diversity, you can have a diverse club, but without inclusion of your diverse members and participants is like faith without works. So considering the diverse population that we live in and that we have, that we work in, that we go to school in, that our kids participate in, what does it mean to include? We talk about the who, the why, what experiences can enrich our clubs. What's the value of inclusion? Value of inclusion is that you get different opinions, different experiences, different knowledge of different ways of doing things. It can expand your knowledge base. There have been studies that show that workplaces that are more diverse in race, gender, age, and some of the other categories that we've talked about, that productivity is even better in those environments because the diversity inspires the workplace participants to learn from each other and to work with each other and to bend and straighten different ideas to advance the mission of the company as we want to advance the mission of Rotary. So let's think about experiences that we can participate in, that our clubs can participate in, that our clubs could jointly participate in to combine different communities into projects and activities where everyone can learn from one another. And even within those opportunities and those experiences, do we really make everyone feel welcome? Let's think about that and dive into that for a little bit. If we don't, how do we begin? What does your club meeting look like? Who is in the room? Who's the speaker? Who are the guests? If you have a guest walk into the room that is of a minority race or of a physical or intellectual different ability, do they feel welcome by walking in the room, or are they feeling like a minority or like no one is going to pay attention to them because the entire room looks a certain way? So think about who's in your room, how those people receive our guests. How do you receive our guests? What opportunities do you give to the guests and to your members to experience different, diverse attitudes, opinions, ideas, thoughts, everything that we can educate ourselves and our world with? Are your speakers all of a certain political party? Are your speakers all of a certain race? Or do you have a diverse speaker rotation in your speakers that you have at your meetings and your social events? Very important way that we can use to help our members, guests, and participants feel included is to have speakers, guests, board members who look like them, who don't just look one particular way. So in the experience in the room of everyone sharing the same experience, everyone is not going to share the same experience. Everyone is going to have their own biases coming into it, their own thoughts and patterns of thinking coming into the meeting, their own experiences outside of the meeting. So everyone is going to experience the meeting differently, but can we make the meeting inclusive enough that everyone can experience it in a way that makes them feel included, heard, and seen? And are certain life experiences more relevant and more important to club leadership or membership, or is it your club's goal and your club's operation to include a diverse member, diversity in your members of your board and your members of your club, and in the participation that you have from volunteers, spouses, children? Make sure that people do feel like they belong, because we should do that. That's part of Rotary's goal in really addressing the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So a quote from Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. This is a quote that says, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it." That may be a little extreme, but what she is talking about here is empathy. People want to be seen. People want to be heard. That is how you make them feel included. You don't want to make them feel like they are different and you are uncomfortable because they are different, or that they should be uncomfortable because they are different. And you don't want to be the person that comes in as a different and feel unseen and unheard. So let's make sure that everybody, regardless of their abilities, regardless of their race, gender, all of the aspects that we have been talking about, let's make sure that they are seen and they are heard for who they are. That will help us advance our Rotary mission of service above self and of creating opportunities for everyone. Let's talk about resources where you can look at in more detail at myrotary.org, and you can find some excellent resources to help your club develop and improve on its diversity, equity, and inclusion. Here are some of the items you can actually find: pamphlets, brochures, and instructional materials on myrotary.org. Here is Rotary's statement of our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. At Rotary, we understand that cultivating a diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture is essential to realizing our vision of a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change, the mission of Rotary. We value diversity and celebrate the contributions of people of all backgrounds across age, ethnicity, race, color, disability, learning style, religion, faith, socioeconomic status, culture, marital status, languages spoken, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, as well as differences in ideas, thoughts, values, and beliefs. The more diverse and different the things that we can bring into our club experience and our Rotary experience, the better we will serve our mission of uniting to take action for creation of lasting change. Recognizing that individuals from certain groups have historically experienced barriers to membership, participation, and leadership, we meaning Rotary International, commits to advancing equity in all aspects of Rotary, including in our community partnerships, so that each person has the necessary access to resources, opportunities, networks, and support to thrive. We believe that all people hold visible and invisible qualities that inherently make them unique, and we strive to create an inclusive culture where each person knows they are valued and belong. In line with our value of integrity, we are committed to being honest and transparent about where we are in our DEI journey as an organization and to continuing to learn and do better. So the DEI journey is a journey. It is not something that may come naturally to many of our Rotary members, but it's something that we should strive to do in order to advance the mission of Rotary. Now, Rotary also has a, they also have a, not just a commitment to the diversity, equity, and inclusion, but Rotary also has a very special core values statement that I would like to share with you now. And that is here. Okay, this is our code of conduct for diversity, equity, and inclusion going forward. This is new. Rotary did a survey among people who volunteered to do some work in looking at clubs and rating different ways that they are experiencing or having difficulty with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Rotary has come up with this statement and code of conduct, which I think is very important for us to know, since we are on this meeting because we are interested in promoting and advancing our journey of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So let's just read along with this. These are all included in the email that I sent you, in the packet of paperwork that I sent you. But the core values of Rotary are fellowship, integrity, diversity, service, and leadership. So many benefits of being a Rotarian, and we want to make sure that we advance all of those benefits. This code of conduct reflects our core values and explains the responsibility that comes with being a Rotarian and a Rotaractor, which includes members from nearly every country in the world speaking over 100 different languages. We are committed to upholding and evolving this code as our organization grows. Like our core values, we expect Rotarians and Rotaractors to exemplify this code of conduct as they interact with one another. Rotary program participants, alumni, project partners, members of the community. Specifically, the code of conduct applies at all club, district, zone, and Rotary International meetings, trainings, events, and anywhere else a member represents Rotary, and on My Rotary and social media. The expectations of club members in an organization that promotes advancing these values, the expectations are: use respectful language. When you first meet someone, introduce yourself and explain how you would like to be addressed, and find out how they would like to be addressed. Call them by their preferred name or something that they have told you they want to be called by, even if it's difficult to pronounce. Get out of your comfort zone and learn to pronounce names that are not as easy for you to do as something like Margie, right? Okay, when addressing larger groups, use gender neutral words to avoid gender assumption. Use active listening to deepen your understanding of others. This is so important, and this could be modeled so well in an interactive version of this presentation, but I'm just hoping to get you to think about this. Active listening, so important. People want to be seen and heard. Be conscious of language that you use and adapt depending on the region. Some wording is acceptable in some cultures, but unacceptable in others. Avoid slang or idioms that do not translate across cultures, or be deliberate in explaining them to share our diverse cultures and languages. Speak plainly and avoid acronyms and jargon that not everyone may understand. If you're curious about someone's cultural background, faith, sexual orientation, gender, or other characteristic, ask if they are open to sharing more about themselves. But refrain from asking if this topic is not relevant to your conversation that you're having right now. But do be curious. We encourage you to be curious in a very respectful way, respecting the other person's boundaries and comfort and discomfort level in discussing it in a certain given situation. Foster an atmosphere of intergenerational dialogue and avoid describing anyone by their age. All right, next core directive: be supportive, be an ally and an advocate for others, and be ready to intervene when you see a need. If you hear something inappropriate, address the behavior in a way to offer support to those affected. Does your club tend to begin or end a meeting with jokes? Make sure that the jokes are not exclusive, that they do not make people feel like they are being looked down upon. Make sure that they are respectful. As a member of Rotary, uphold this code of conduct and build this culture within your club experience. Address any issues as they arise. Foster a welcoming and inclusive environment. I think we've talked about this, how you structure your meetings, how you structure your social events, and how you structure your volunteer activities should be looked at to make sure that they are not excluding anyone, that we are always creating or being aware of the environment and making it as inclusive as we possibly can. Celebrate diversity. Increase your club's awareness, understanding, and acceptance of people with disabilities. Celebrate a variety of cultural events and religious observances rather than continually conducting service projects or hosting events associated with a single culture or religion. Again, back to the invocation that begins your meetings. Every invocation does not have to be a certain way. We should have diverse invocations and honor and respect all different religions and cultures. We should acknowledge and celebrate different genders, avoid stereotyping and mocking. Again, being respectful, allowing people to be seen and heard in a respectful manner for who they are. All right, and there is a special email here if you have code of conduct questions or concerns. If you see something going on in your club or in an activity that you are participating in that is a Rotary sponsored activity, let somebody know or ask somebody, is this something I should be concerned about? What can I do to address this? You can email me or you can email dei.inquiries@rotary.org. Make sure, again, as part of being respectful, part of the Rotary Code of Policies, we need to make sure that harassment is not occurring on any level, and to report that as needed and to ask for help in deciding whether to say something or not, whether what you just saw was appropriate or inappropriate. Feel free to discuss with your other club members, other people who are trying to work with you on DEI issues in your clubs, and feel free to reach out to me, to your district leaders, and to Rotary.org, the email that I just put up on the screen and that you have in your packet of papers that I emailed along with the link to this video. I hope that you have learned something from this and learned about the actual importance of creating clubs of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Rotary's commitment, serious, deep commitment to making that happen in all of our clubs across our nation, across the entire world. My name is Margie Connolly. I have been privileged to present this information to you. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime by email, and I will be happy to discuss these issues further with you. Thank you.